People are going to try to make you think the translation is just a simple word for word. So we just replace one item for the next from one language into the other, and simple la-di-da, there it is. It's not that way. All you got to do is convert the words, paragraphs, and sentences from one language into another. But the reason why that doesn't work is because if you don't capture the concepts, those words, paragraphs, and sentences don't mean anything in the new language. So a simple word-to-word comparison shows us Joseph Smith missed big time on each of these words. But did he get any of the concepts? Abraham's introduced to the star Kolob, which represents the star closest to where God lives and how God marks his time. So in other words, if you wanted to trace back to the very beginning of time, you would need to trace back to Kolob. But what does that have to do with the sheep god Khnum?
According to a number of texts in ancient Egyptian religion, Khnum was the deity who molded the great cosmic egg. From that egg came forth the sun and everything that exists.
Now, I'm not saying that our sun is Kolob, but the concept of using a star to tell time seems to have translated pretty well to me.
Khnum, in the language of the ancient Egyptians, means source, but also well and cistern. It's believed that this word was the prototype for both Arabic and Berber names for sheep. The Egyptians themselves probably called sheep and rams the onomatopoeic Ba. In any case, the Egyptians wouldn't be themselves if the name of such an important deity didn't have more than one meaning. So his name is also a theological formula. Khnum means to join, to unite, which refers to the most important function of Khnum, the creator and guardian of all living creatures. The creation of man on a potter's wheel is a theological concept that has appeared in Egyptian religion since the beginning of written sources. At least since the Middle Kingdom, this idea has been associated with the ram-headed god. Khnum is the maker of all living creatures. Khnum constantly creates each new body and endows it with life. Humans have either always existed, according to cosmogonic myth, or was created along the way. We know, for example, that they considered the moment of conception to be the beginning of life. Khnum was identified not only with the sun. For Khnum, great sun disk, who shines in the Akkad, millions see through his beautiful face. In Egyptian theologies, Khnum was considered one of the all-encompassing manifestations of the pantheistic being, similarly to Atum, Ptah, Amun-Ra, with whom he was actually identified.
Amun-Ra was the mysterious originator of all life and was known as the one who made himself into millions.
Then Amun-Ra returned and was enthroned among the gods, and he summoned to his presence Khnum, the creator. Ba is a mobile entity which, after a man's death, leaves his body and tomb and sets off for the afterlife. Once only the pharaoh had such a perspective, but the religion of Osiris, which appeared in the late Old Kingdom, opened the heavens for everyone. Interestingly, sometimes the word Ba was written using the sign of a ram, which, as we already know, the Egyptians